Well, thank you, Coach, for coming through and chatting with us. And it's always good to have a conversation with yourself. Let's chat a little bit about the ABC Motsepe League just to wrap up the season that was. You ended second position. You were just 2 points away from the Stream B League champions, which was Bafana.
Yeah, I think it was a fantastic season for the club. I think if I look at the ABC Motsepe in the last season, and obviously in total I spent 4 seasons in the league, I would say last year the level of the league, particularly of our stream, was the strongest that I've seen. And a big reason for that, in my opinion, is that Cape Town only had one NFD team last year, where in the past there used to be 3-4 teams in the NFD, and a lot of players of NFD quality, or Motsepe Foundation Championship quality now, ended up playing in the ABC. So there's really a lot of strong teams. If I look at our stream, there was Battalions, who's very tough to play, Hanover Park, Clarewood, FN Rangers, and Young Bafana. So we had some really stiff competition. Before and during the season, if I compare it to last season where we finished third in our stream, there was a lot of player movement. So a lot of players from Ubuntu that went to professional clubs particularly. I think in total we looked at 13 players moving on from sort of the core group of 20, if you want to call it that. And the majority of them, 1 or 2 of them went to go work and stuff, but the majority of them signed for pro clubs. And so for us it was a really big transition process. And really when you go in with such a young team as we did, the target is always just survival, and comfortable survival ideally. But obviously as things went along, we competed, and we were competing for the league title, or the stream title I should say. And yeah, I think we did so by still playing the young players, by playing good football, and so I'm very proud of what the guys achieved this season. Obviously you can always look at it and say a point here or a point there, or a draw that should have been a win or something like that. However, I think what ifs don't really help you at all, and what matters to me more is how we played and what we stuck to our principles, not only on the field but also promoting the youth. And so a very, very good season that I'm very proud of how the guys did in the end.
Yeah, let's chat about the focus of the club that looks at youth development. And if you look at the ABC Motsepe League, a highly competitive league, and how do you manage to sort of transition these young players from, let's say, a lower division to this division? I look at Lazola Maku that you've introduced this season, and what some of the prospects that we can see, maybe even beyond your departure.
I think obviously it's not an easy transition for players from junior football into ABC Motsepe straight. It's quite a big step up, both in terms of the quality of play but also just the physical demands of play. Highly physical league, very competitive, a lot of teams that are very good at punishing mistakes, and so it is a step up. But what helps the young players is that they're stepping into an environment where the playing style is something they know how we play, so they don't have to adjust too much in terms of that. It's instead just doing it at a higher level. So at least when we talk about variables, there's one variable that changes, which is the quality of the play and the quality of the opposition, but the variable of how we play stays more or less constant, and consequently it enables young players to make the step up. We also understand or understood that it's possible that it won't happen immediately, that they need 1 or 2 or 3 games to adjust to the level, and we always factor that in. And so if the players also feel that there's a belief that they can do it, and that they will do it, and that there's a calmness when perhaps it takes a little bit of time to adjust, I think that really helps, and that's been the secret of the club. I think after the NFD relegation, the club had to reinvent itself in the Motsepe, because you're not looking at a pro status anymore, and obviously the life and the core of the club, the spine of the club is the academy. And so it only made sense to build the ABC Motsepe team on the academy, and I think throughout these years now we've seen that is really the way to go for Ubuntu at this level. Lazola himself, I think you mentioned him in your question. He's obviously a very talented young player, also a highly intelligent footballer with a great mindset, and so we had the faith to throw him in at 15 years old, and he took to it like a fish to water. It was really no question. I think he never really cost us in any way as a central midfielder. I think for him it was a really valuable experience to play at this level, and he did us very, very proud. Obviously, he's received recognition since, becoming the under-16 national team captain, traveling to Europe, and I think it's fantastic. That is what Ubuntu is there for, is to provide a platform for talented young men like him to not only show their ability on the field, but also show leadership ability. And I think that is with Lazola that I'm most proud of, is that he's developed a really good leadership ability and consequently got rewarded by being the national team captain for under 16.
Yeah, let's chat about because Ubuntu seems to be an institution that don't only look after, players in the field of play, looking at the human aspect and the development, and that is how we see the likes of Lazola coming through the ranks. Just take us through that behind the scenes work that has been done there.
Yeah, I think Ubuntu is there to develop players holistically. So, it's not only the football side, it's also a caregiving, a mentoring side, and also the academic side. So all the players that are in the academy are also schooled at Ubuntu. They go to school there from grade 7 all the way to matric. There's individual development plans with these players. There's individual development plans off the field too, of okay, what career aptitude do you have? What is your dual dream outside of football? Obviously, Coach Dave Waters is someone that has developed this dual dream methodology. And so I think it's a very holistic way of developing the person and the player, and hopefully a future leader. And that is the uniqueness and the success of the club, that it's football at a very good level, but it's also academics at a very good level and caregiving at a very good level. And I feel that Ubuntu is a place where players will individually come out with, hopefully more often than not, the right path for their future. So they will be well set up, whether they are good enough for professional football or whether they are going to do something else. I think that is the club really caters for very well.
That's something that we need so much in our football development, and it's good to see such an institution going through that path. We can't talk to you, Coach, and not chat about the Engine Knockout Challenge, which we've seen you've defended it successfully in 2021, I think, and in 2019 you were crowned the champions as well. Just take us through that and some of the work that you've done with the rest of your technical team.
Yeah, I think obviously Engine, in our opinion, is a very special tournament because it's the only national under-18 competition for clubs. And so it's a really nice platform for young players to show themselves on a regional stage first, but then if you're successful, also on a national stage. And I think in the last few years we've had a really good history at Engine, obviously starting with the win of the regional championship in 2019, going on to win the national one that same year. Then obviously in 2020 there was no Engine tournament, but in 2021 we managed to defend the 2019 championship and then the regional championship, and then lost in the final of the national against Moritz Kossmann. But even last year, we went to the semi-final of the regional championship, but lost to Cape Town City. So it's a highly competitive tournament. Because it's only 16 teams in the main draw, it's from the word go, it's very difficult matches, and players have to step up. And for us at the time, it's a really good measuring stick to see which players are possibly ready to make a step up to ABC Motsepe, because this is a very tough junior competition. There is a little bit of pressure, and now we want to see how players respond to that pressure. Are they going to shy away, or are they going to step up and show themselves more than they're already doing on a daily basis? And I think there was a lot of success stories throughout this. Munashi Garananga is a player that has signed for Sheriff Tiraspol. He's in their Champions League qualifying squads now. So he's played UEFA Conference League. He's made a real step up into top level European football. I mean, he was the player of the tournament at the regional championship in 2019. And you look at Antonio van Wyk, who was the top scorer of that tournament and was just amazing form during that time. And he's become a regular feature at Stellenbosch in the PSL. He's played for our country at under 23 level and scored goals. So there's another major success story. And of the 2021 team, a whole host of players have signed for Supersport, Stellenbosch and Cape Town City respectively. I think we're looking at I'm not exactly sure, but a total of about 9 or 10 of them that have signed for those clubs and are making their way throughout the structure. So yeah, I feel that the platform has been there and the boys have generally used it well, and hopefully will continue to use it well. But it's not just Ubuntu. I think what Engine are doing in general for football in South Africa, youth football in South Africa now, both on the men's and the women's side, I think it's fantastic, and I think it's been going for over 20 years, and I really hope it continues, because this country needs competitions like Engine.
Yeah, and we're glad also that there was a resolution to the delay as well to this tournament, because it touches the communities, it gives an opportunity to young players. And Coach, you spoke so fondly about the players, and that was your reflection with your, call it the recent appointment or your departure from the club. And you said the most important thing for you that stands out is the players that you've seen coming through the ranks.
Yeah.
And as a coach, I mean, you still have a lot of work to do in the future. But you've done so much work with this club that we've seen the results because of the work that was put in. How much of a reflection that you have on these players that you've mentioned? I mean, you've touched on Antonio, you've also touched on a number of players who were, performed exceptionally well at some of these tournaments.
I think I was at Ubuntu for 6 years ultimately, and now I've moved on to Cape Town City. I think there's been so many good moments during those 6 years, and if I look back, the relationship with the colleagues stands out. There's some really fantastic coaches and people at Ubuntu, Michael Jenkins, Casey Prince, but also coaches like Dave Waters, Chris Bergman, Yannick Sop, who are all doing amazing work every single day. But it's not just the football staff, there's the school staff, there's the house staff, there's the administrators that are really pouring their heart and souls into these boys every single day. And working with these players, I think it will be the same at Cape Town City, working with players that are at a very high level and that are willing and able to give you 100% effort every single day. For me, it's a great gift. I really love doing this. I feel a special bond with the players, and usually that bond is shown even more when the players move on to a higher level or another level, because reality is at that stage the players don't really need to care about you anymore because you're not their coach anymore. But often the best relationship with the players are shown in those sort of moments after you've worked with them, and that is another thing that stands out to me. I got to work with several different groups and age groups at Ubuntu, and yeah, the players and what they've since done, you know, they've made me very proud, and I think that it's a great gift to be able to work with such elite young men. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the same thing at Cape Town City. I think I've been here for a couple of weeks now, and I've already seen that there's some fantastic potential, some fantastic young players who are very eager to work hard, who are very eager to use this amazing opportunity that the club has gifted them. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully writing a positive chapter at City and building a very strong DDC team for the season.
Yeah, just take us into that, coach. Your transition now into this new role. You know, what are some of the things that have been laid out to you? Obviously, you know, what's the term of the contract that you have, and what are some of the expectations that the club has, and what are the expectations that you do have?
Well, I think obviously DDC is a national stage, which is really exciting because it allows me as a coach, but also the players to compete on a national stage rather than a regional stage. So getting to know more of the football landscape of South Africa will be for me very exciting. It's something that you know, you get to do. You have sneak peeks of that when you do engine and tournaments like that, but really DDC now you're competing against teams from all over every single week. So for me this is exciting. I think what I'm looking to do is just provide the best possible development that I can for the players that are going to be in my care, and hopefully be able to push or help push one or two of them on to PSL level. Ideally, obviously, as many as we can, and obviously as many as the first team staff deem fit for that very high level. So yeah, that's my focus, is can we build a good brand of football at the DDC team. Obviously there's been a good brand already in the past, but can we continue to build that, and can we work holistically and in detail with the individuals that are there in order to give them the best possible opportunity to step up into the PSL football in the future. I think already at the club you've seen players like Jaden Rhodes and Kakasi Fumba and Tahir Khudaman make the step up from DDC to first team and doing well, and yeah, hopefully that can continue. But at the end of the day, you know, us as coaches, we are support to the players, because football is for the players and the players need to do the work. We can help them in that, but at the end of the day they have to do the work because it's their careers, and they improve through the work they do in training and in matches. And yeah, so we support, but the real walk has to be walked by the players.
Yeah, good to hear that, coach. Let's talk about, maybe it's not clear now, maybe you do have some insight into the recruitment strategy. You know, how much of an influence will you have working with the scouts at the club that would have an influence in your recruitment process, especially with some of the well-established, call it, where you come from Ubuntu, and maybe some of the community clubs that have produced super talented players?
Yeah, I think we believe that the Cape Peninsula or Greater Cape Town has more than enough football talent. I think we're looking at an enormous region with, I think President Bennett Bailey said it at one of the tournaments, that I'm going to be paraphrasing because it's a while ago, but I think you're looking at many 100,000 active players across youth and senior football, and so we believe that there's more than enough talent in this region to feed into the PSL. And I think City, through Grant Veach, especially at the junior level, has, you know, a really good scouting structure, and we believe that the talent is here. It needs to be unearthed, it needs to be exposed, and then at the academy stage it needs to be nurtured, so that hopefully as many of them can make the step up into PSL level. I think if we look at South African football in the past, you know, South African football has generally always had a good amount of high level players from the Cape Town region and from the Western Cape, and I think it shows historically that the talent is here. You know, you mentioned Nassif Morris to me earlier, you mentioned Benny McCarthy, there was Sean Bartlett, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And I feel it's all here. It's for us to find it, and it's for us to give that talent the best possible platform to hopefully step up into PSL level, national team level, and then hopefully in the future also into the European level. So I think it's all there. It's for us to make sure we do the work and do it at the highest possible level that we can.
Great, coach. Let's chat about yourself moving from this lower division, which is ABC Motsepe League. I mean, obviously, you've coached at the highest level before. And, I mean, preparing for this interview, I looked at the drawing board that is your DDC Times column.
Yeah.
And how much of an encouragement would you give to local coaches at an LFA level to sort of follow that content so that they can draw from it and relate to their own experiences?
Yeah, I mean, the writing for DDC Times on a weekly basis is something that I really love doing. It's also a nice opportunity for me to reflect and to put on paper my own thoughts about many different topics. And the reason it's there is for coaches, is to perhaps provoke thoughts and give ideas for their daily work. You know, it's also in a way a selfish project because it helps me get feedback about my own thoughts, which can be hugely valuable. If people agree or disagree, it can be really good for my own developmental process. And I'm very thankful for DDC Times giving me the platform. And if it helps coaches, even a small percentage in and around the country, then I feel that I've added a little bit of value. So obviously anyone that spends time reading the columns, I'm very happy about, I'm very thankful for. And I hope that I'm able to continue writing for them for a long time still.
Coach, we wish you everything of the best in your new journey.
Thank you very much.
And we've really appreciated your time, all the times that you were available for us for any conversations. All the best, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.